So good morning and good evening, everyone. Today is the October 29th, 2025. This is the Crow Community Meeting or the Cube Resource Orchestrator. We are a SIG project and we follow the CNCF Code of Conduct, which summarized to be nice to each other. In our agenda today, and as usual, we start by welcoming any new members or attendees. I see we have Barani. Is that Barney or?
Hey, yeah, that's me.
Oh, hey, Barney.
Hey, I know.
Good morning. Sorry, I didn't recognize that. Um, so let's determine the note taker. I can see that someone is already taking notes. Matt, is that you?
Yeah, I'll take notes.
Okay, thank you. Um, and let's start by the project news and updates. So I'm gonna summarize it real quick. In the last 2 weeks, we made two Crow releases, which is not very usual of us. I'm gonna share my screen. So we made two releases, one minor and one patch to the minor. So the most important one is 0.5.0. We crafted the release notes in a way that it shows you the highlights and the breaking changes and all the other features that you might be interested into reading about. We had a lot of contributors for this one. We had like 17 contributors. So that's really great. Highlights. The highlight of the highlights is that right now we're using apply sets or server-side apply to manage the resources. No more custom deltas internally. This is a way better implementation for Crow managing child resources. Barney has put tremendous amount of work on this one, so thanks again, Barney, for all the hard work on this one. Other than that, I will leave it up to you or like to the folks interested to go through the other release notes. There's like a bunch of them in here. But in a nutshell, apply sets is what you wanna like probably like take a look at, and reason why you wanna like test Crow again. It's gonna be able to manage things like secrets and config maps more properly, and it will also handle any mutation webhooks or admission webhooks doing defaulting or mutating on your resources. The other patch release, it had only like 5 changes. We mainly just like addressed a minor bug with apply set, and basically what was missing is labels on the instance. So it's not a big deal. Like 0.5.0 would still continue working, but this patch makes the instance get the right annotations and labels. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Two releases. Something like nice to see is Crow has a versioned website right now. You can, if you're using like 0.4.1, you can go back to navigate the documentation at that point. Or if you're, I don't know, adventurous enough to play with with the main branch directly and build your own images, you can check the main documentation in here. So this like gets updated every time we push, and these ones we publish them accordingly. So yeah, that's it. That's like I think the three or two biggest highlights we have for Crow. I'm gonna stop in here and let people ask questions if there are any questions about all the things that I said. Nope, looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm gonna move to the next point. Next point is gonna be milestone review. So we're working towards 0.6.0 right now, and for that one, gonna head to the Crow website. Actually, let me create also a 0.7, just in case we want to move something to the other milestone. So I'm gonna go to 0.6. Let me reorder those a little bit by, I would say, their levels of importance. Well, everything is important, of course, but okay. First one is resource drift and reconciliation. I believe we do have a PR for this one that is open. Let me see if Jacob has linked it in here. Yeah. So PR 911, sorry, 611 needs a few code reviews. This is last time I reviewed it. It looks like in a good state, but I think this is really good to go for 0.6. So if anyone has the time to do a code review, please go ahead and do it. The other one is the Crow status conditions. This one has been merged. So I can close. I think we should close this one when we release the 0.6. But we added status conditions for instances right now, and they are standardized and look very similar to RGDs and whatever exists in other projects too. Yes, Walter?
Sorry, just quickly, but it looks like we've inherited some of the Kubernetes lifecycle management in our PR or our issues. I'm just going to suggest that you've got two that are lifecycle stale, which means that they are getting ready to be automatically closed. You can just if you haven't played with this stuff for a while, I figured I'd just throw it out here. You can either undo it or you can freeze them. If we weren't about to close them, I'd definitely say freeze them. As it is, I think frozen is reasonable. But yeah, you may want to just freeze them so we don't get them accidentally closed on us.
Sweet. Good call out. Thank you, Walter. Yes, we need to keep things either frozen or not rotten. So yeah, I'll mark this one as not frozen. Let me see this one too. Okay, let me also mark it as frozen. I just realized actually there's a new life cycle. I've never seen this one before called active, which I believe I've seen like here means being actively worked on by a contributor. Nice. Looks like the order changed again for some reason. Okay. Cool. The next one is collections. Collections is a big topic in Crow. We have a design document for it. And I want to talk a little bit about actually 0.6. And I set a deadline in here. And please, like, if anyone disagrees, let me know. But I was thinking since KubeCon is coming in the 10th of November, basically it's almost in 10 days, 11 days. I was thinking we should probably like make a release 0.6 before KubeCon, and we can like all the PRs are already open and features are ready to ship. We can just like ship them, tag 0.6, and then move anything else that is going to require much more work and attention to 0.7, aka collections or resource lifecycle. What do folks think about that?
I guess I like it. I mean, I think, shipping earlier and more often is, kind of shows momentum, which is good. I would say it would be nice. I don't know that it is necessary, but it would be nice if we could have at least one sort of rock star feature in 06 to talk about. But I think, that's probably as nice as that would be. And I think it would help us. I think you're right. I think let's make sure we get something recent checked in for KubeCon.
So we have status conditions, the other half of status conditions. Is that right? I mean,
Yes, they are merged.
so that's merged, but that's not in 0.5 or 0.5.1, correct? So that's one
No.
feature that's 0.6. I don't know
Yeah.
whether it rises to the level of Rockstar or not, but I mean it's relatively big. Um, I mean, should we talk about what we need? Because that's pretty soon, right? Like that's like a week from now.
Yeah.
Should we talk about what we need to do to get like some at least of these other features in? Like what are we blocked on?
So I would say like for me, I mean, it's true. Like I don't know if those are like very like rock stars, but status conditions and drift detection, we have open PRs for them, and they are very close to being merged. Those could be like the highlights of 0.6. Something else that is not mentioned in here that I wanted to talk about next is a PR that I have open that reworks actually the type check-in system for Crow. If I'm gonna send a link in here, if folks want to take a look at this one, I did basically just get rid of the emulator and do a proper cell check-in system for Crow. And I was thinking this could land in 0.6. Sending a link in here, 756. Would folks be interested into getting this one for 0.6? I can give us a quick summary if needed. Yeah, Justin, please.
I think yes, but I think we should present it as a user-facing feature rather than like what are the benefits to users of this? Like, is it more fidelity in the emulation rather than like, we refactored the emulation, right? So that we can make it like a headline feature.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the highlights is like better type check-in for RGDs. So the cell type check-in system works properly with Crow right now with this PR. The other one is performance improvements. I think did some scale testing on this PR, and I saw a 25% drop of memory usage when it comes to RGDs in total. So I was like, that could be really a user-facing like release now. So we can I agree with you. We can present it differently than just calling it eliminating emulation.
So I will say of those two, and I mean I'll rely on Nick and some of more of our product people, but I would say that 25% drop in memory usage is a huge feature advantage for our existing customers or users. But I think if we're going to talk about what is a headline feature for a new customer, I think it needs to be the first, right? It needs to be good type checking, always getting that kind of thing right, and where that's an advantage to them.
Yeah, I can like show maybe one of the, just like for folks in here, something super interesting in here. I'm gonna go to this file. Something that used to work with Crow before that doesn't work anymore right now because we have a better type check-in is, I'm gonna go down let me see. You can see here this config map. Like before, you could technically put an integer in here. So you could put like replicas and it would work. I mean, it would be incorrect. So you would only see those issues at runtime. But now you will have to basically wrap anything that is not a string with the cell string function to transform, for example, replicas from an integer into a string so that it works in the config map. So just like tiny improvements. You can catch things on compile time or RGB processing time rather than runtime. But yeah, I fully agree with you, Walter and Justin. We can definitely frame this for existing users and new
I would
users.
say if we can get it, I mean, what just as an example of why I think we probably want to, kind of describe it in customer terms. But, if we can have cell rules in the CRD, then you can start talking to customers about things like you can have a git check so that someone can't even check invalid YAML into their Git repo. You can have something where the IDE pays attention to the cell rules and pays attention to this. And now it's like, hey, your developer or your app engineer can't even make the mistake, versus they can make the mistake and now you spend a day trying to get into your Kubernetes cluster to find what's gone wrong, right? And I think at that point you have a much better story on how you've shifted left the error detection and given a much better user experience.
Fully agree with you, Walter. Nice collab. Yeah.
Hey, Amin.
Yeah.
So, how would you prioritize the feature? So, in my mind, I'm thinking drift detection is a must.
Yeah.
Like if I only have review bandwidth for one PR, I would be working on that and trying to get that merged in. Is that reasonable?
Actually, can we give that one to Justin? Because I'm actually kind of curious. Like, I understand drift detection with like ACK, ASO, KCC, but what exactly is the drift detection at the Crow layer look like? Like, what's it doing, Justin?
So I opened this bug. It was something we discussed earlier. It is simply reapplying. It's reapplying when any of the children change. So a way to implement it would be we would watch all our children, all the objects we create, and if any of them change, we would rerun our reconciler.
So this would be like.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and that would also therefore presumably include like more efficient aggregation of status up, right? Or efficient aggregation of status up.
All right. Got it. Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of the drift detection, so this is just, yeah, I was going to say, this has got to in the actual world, we're still relying on underlying systems, right?
Yes, it would only be direct children, is my understanding, because the assumption is that the direct children themselves would, deal with their things.
And then the other part I will say to this, so this is an issue, not a PR.
This is an issue, yeah.
Yeah, I think the PR is referenced on the issue though.
Okay, so we think we do have a PR. I was going to say, like, I don't want to try and shoehorn a development in before KubeCon, but if
we have a PR that's open for a long time, so
okay,
yeah. I think Jacob opened it, right?
Yeah, I was just trying to be realistic, because if we want to cut something in 10 days and we have two PRs, we can only get to one. Which one should we get to?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. I was looking at that, making sure, one, I understood what it did, and two, wanted to know what the status is, because that looks more like an issue, but it sounds like it is an issue, but there is a PR behind it. All right. So yeah, I was going to say, I think Barney has a great question. Like, if we could only get review cycles to make sure we get one of these merged, which one do we want to actually prioritize?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially given that drift detection has been open, I mean, like that's part of that is like coming out of watch sets, right? I mean, I think we're not using watch sets, but it goes that far back in terms of how long we've been talking about it and working on it. Like it does feel like we should try to do that one first, just from in the order they came in, as well.
Well, I guess kind of plus oneing that. I sort of feel like, if I have shifting left errors, which may be stale, or making sure that the current state of the world is propagated properly. I think I care more about the current state of the world being propagated properly.
And this is the PR for it, is that right? I mean 611?
Yes, that's correct.
I did want to ask about on your PR changing the cell evaluation. It's still how do I say? Is it at RGD submission time in the sense it's effectively rejected without accepting the RGD, or is it after RGD submission but just early on in the evaluation process?
It's on RGD submission time. So we tell you in advance whether things are going to work or not from a time perspective. Plus one to everything that was said. I think let's process things in the order in which they came in. Definitely, like drift detection is much more higher importance. So yeah, like folks, if you have time to do code reviews, that would be great. I'm still gonna do another round. I think Jacob pushed today a few commits. Yeah, 1 hour ago, a few commits to this PR. So if we can get this merged ASAP, that would be great. And looks like the tests are passing.
So I mean, I know now you've done quite a bit of like performance testing and maybe even have, if not in the repo, like locally, some infrastructure to do some perf testing. Did you do some with Jacob? I know you were working with him. So like, do we already understand the impact of this? Because I think this is like significantly more watching and eventing than we were doing before, correct?
So yes, we did not do scale testing on this PR to understand the impact. However, yes, we do watch children, but we spin only one watch per GVK globally. Meaning if there are multiple RGDs, managing config maps, there is only one watch against config maps, and we do like the routing towards the right instance by looking at the labels. And the second thing is that we only watch the metadata. We do not do like config map watches. We only do metadata watches. So I'm not expecting a lot of overhead, but I hear you. I think I should probably like do some scale testing on this branch before we move on to before like we merge it. I'm not expecting more than probably like 5 to 10% increase in memory usage. But if this more than that, we might like want to discuss the impact actually on the performance.
Yeah, I mean, this does seem like something where we probably need it or something like it to be correct eventually. So like, we're going to have to take, and I think there's no solution that isn't going to increase resource consumption some, right? Because we're just like by definition doing more than we were before. But yeah, just agree that maybe we should confirm that we're not, doubling or tripling our resource consumption.
Yeah, just a sanity check would be good.
Yeah. Very good point. I'll make sure to do that. On your question are those scripts available? Not really. I did not push them to the CRO repository. I'm planning to doing so. It's just like a little messy right now in one of my local repositories with some, env files with credentials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Can you share the law? We can probably even put it in a pre-submit that triggers on special labels.
Yeah, absolutely. Fully agree with you, Barney. That would be great. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna get this done before KubeCon, like having a proper scale test for CRO on a specific label. But I will at least like share the scripts if anyone wanna like run them manually and how to do the pprof and all that stuff. But yeah, it's on the queue, I would say.
Ooh, that reminds me. Maybe I'll send a pprof PR. I was doing something on a branch to enable pprof endpoint.
Nice.
Just a suggestion. Something that I've seen work very well is to upload a work in progress PR. It enables collaboration, like make clear that you will let other people, you're happy for other people to sort of carry the torch if need be. So if anyone is enthusiastic about this or has related work, it also helps me get over my, perfection, OCD, whatever you want to call it, like, perfectionism, and just get something out there and, move forwards type thing.
Sweet, absolutely, yes. I'll try to get something rolling as soon as possible. And Barney, please, if you want to add like pprof officially to either behind a flag or a build, I think it's called
Yeah, it'll
build
be a
tag.
flag. Yeah, it'll be a flag usually.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. With that said, I think we do have enough for the scope of 0.6 between like the drift detection conditions and the type check in PR if anyone get the time to get into it. I think everything else might want to wait to 0.7 just given that we have only 10 days to make a release. Do we agree on that? Or like is there any disagreement in general regarding that?
So may I suggest a different approach, slightly different approach, Amin? You're the person cutting and doing our releases. So to have this all ready for KubeCon, when would you need things merged?
I put the due date is the 7th of November, which is
okay. So you need everything
Friday.
that is going to go in merged by the 7th of November.
The latest, yes.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm looking at. Well, if you want to pull it in, that's fine. So I would say, why don't we just make it clear what our priority order is? I think essentially what gets in by the 7th of November is good, and and you cut and anything that doesn't make it, you just push it forward and you cut and release, right? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So I put here the three like in order: drift detection, status conditions, and then the static type check-in for RGDs.
Yeah, if anyone's
although I mean there is nothing for us to actually do on status conditions, correct? Like we're done on that from just kind of.
So when you say we're done, I mean do any of these need anything other than reviews?
They just need reviews.
Okay, and all of them need reviews, right? Even the crow status conditions?
Crow status conditions got reviewed and is merged.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we could, like, in theory, you could just, I mean, I don't know what our actual process is. I guess we could talk about that here. Like, do we close the item when we release or do we close the item when we merge? Like, I know GitHub default automation, at least, usually if you ref the issue, closes it when we merge. Like, it doesn't care whether it's been released or not, which in that case, like, if we close this item, it would go into completed in 0.6 as opposed to open in 0.6. I mean, it's a small thing, but I think that's my preference, at least, is I think we should just close this if the code is merged. We can always unclose it if we revert, but I don't think we're planning on doing that.
Yeah, and I think it just makes it easier to understand where we are because, So +1 what you said, Matt.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's not like it's hidden because it should show up in exactly. It should show up in closed. Like if you look at the if you uncheck that, like it does say that it's closed. So that way we know, okay, we've got the one thing done already.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. The left, or like what's left, is those the ones that I selected in here. Obviously, I think collections is still in flight. The CREP is being reviewed by a lot of people. There is a lot of conversations around it, so I don't think we can like make any decisions right now and try to force it to 0.6. Do we agree this like goes to 0.7? Okay, I take that for a yes.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. The other one is resource lifecycle modifiers. I think this one will deserve a crep as well. We don't have one for it yet, so
Yeah, yeah,
0.7.
I
Okay, cool.
have one on my local branch. I just didn't push it. I was trying to get the version thing inside first, but yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll send that one too.
Yep. CRD breaking changes. I have a PR for this one actually. It's something we could include in 0.6, but I'm not really rushing it. I'm happy with either. If folks wanna like have this one in 0.6, I'm very happy to reiterate on the PR. I think it needs a rebase, is an old one, and we can like ship it in 0.6. In a nutshell, Crow would not like with this PR or this feature. If you go ahead in simple schema and make some breaking changes, like for example, marking a field as required when it was not before, it will reject that. It will not let you like introduce new fields that are required unless if they have a default. Or it will not let you remove existing required fields. So anything that is like considered as a breaking change in the CRD version, it will be rejected.
And what's the, because I know we've kind of talked about this before, but what's the behavior today if I do that? Like what happens?
Crow will just go ahead and apply your new changes.
So I'm going to suggest that sound it kind of sounds correct, but it also sounds like there's a lot of minutia there we need to get right. Like, what is the difference between iterating while I'm developing and sending to a production, and KubeCon's going to be more iterating while I'm testing for the people who are going to use it. So maybe this is something that's better to wait for .7, just because I don't want to generate a bad user experience for a new user at KubeCon.
Fair enough. Anyone else has an opinion on this one?
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was late. Just not an opinion so much as I understand it, the source of the old version is the CRD, right? Or is in the cluster. This I think would be nice to at some point be able to package that logic in the CLI or something, right? So that we can catch it before it gets too late type thing.
Okay, sweet. I think we all agree that this one is for 0.7.
Yeah, and I was going to say that was actually where I was going with my earlier line of questioning on when do we apply the cell engine evaluations. Maybe, it might be nice to have a CLI for that too, right? To Walter's point, like if you want to have like your Git pipeline or something checked to make sure you're doing things right, it's like I want to be able to statically analyze without even submitting it to a cluster, and get an answer, is this valid or not?
Okay, cool. I moved both of them to 0.7. The next one is Crow does not update when resource. No. Okay, I think this one is just drift detection. And I believe Jacob is addressing this one as well.
Well, I mean, those just seem like bug fixes, right?
I mean, I think it's
a feature.
I was gonna say it's more of like a feature, right? Because I think their point here is like when an update is made to the external ref, we don't detect it. Like that's sort of drift detection, or at least drift detection adjacent.
It's a behavioral change. We can argue whether it's a bug or a.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I can add a parent. Awesome. Okay, cool. Does it show as a parent in here? No. Okay, sweet. So I think we're gonna get this one just like with 323, which is drift detection. Next is gonna be enable to reconcile RGDs if cluster contains an available API service.
I have seen something similar in ConfigSync, our GitOps product or project or
Is
whatever.
this related to aggregation APIs?
That's the easiest way to get an unavailable API resource. But yes, my
Mhm.
understanding is that like I don't know if all discovery breaks, like the discovery clients, but it like there are problems if you do discovery a certain way.
Yeah.
I can look up how we fixed that in that other project, ConfigSync. But I was not
Okay,
involved in
sweet.
that fix, so I don't know for sure.
I don't know like how to solve this one. I know a lot of people. Oh, I see here Barney asking a few questions. We moved this from 0.5 to 0.6. I think we should move it to 0.7. I don't think I have a good understanding of how we can fix this. Unless if anyone want to take a stab at it, I think you should go to 0.7.
Yeah.
As I understand, it's quite rare, right? Like
Mhm.
something seriously wrong with your cluster, and lots of things are going to break, including Crow.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. I think we agree in here that this is not for 0.6. And the last one is the Barney's proposal for Crow instance and resource labels.
Yeah, it's just a proposal doc. So if we agree on the proposal, that can be merged. But the implementation PR is separate.
Okay, cool. So should we does this need to have a milestone?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we can just like remove it from the milestone and treat it. I
Yeah.
think this is a CREP, right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. So, okay, sweet. I'm just gonna remove it from the milestone in here and go back to 0.6. That will leave us with 3 things, and we have 1 closed. So we are like 25% there. But the good thing is that everything else has open PRs right now. So all we have to do is to do some code reviews and iterate.
Sounds good. I'll start with the drift detection. I was halfway through it when Jacob asked me to look at the other PR.
Okay, awesome.
That we decided not to take forward. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Barney. And I think that's it for the milestone review. I think we've done everything. I'm very excited for the KubeCon release. This is going to be really great. What's the next element? Next element is open discussions. We don't have any open discussion elements in here. So
given
I'm
what
just
we
going to
just did,
Mhm.
I have a suggestion for an open discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually like how Kubernetes does it, but I'm going to throw it out there just because I think it's a starting point. We have creps, they have caps. One of the forcing functions for getting caps to move forward is having a cap milestone or a cap date with any release, saying you're not allowed to do the work unless the cap has been approved by a given date. And this tries to get caps reviewed and approved or not in time to sort of as a forcing function. I don't like that forcing function. But at the same time, I think, we do need a forcing function of, how do we want to make sure that we're actually reviewing creps and making sure that they're moving forward or being denied, right? I mean, I think it's okay to deny a crep. The only thing that's not okay is letting it linger forever in a backlog. Wow, I generated silence.
Like, I'm trying to parse it. Are you saying we attach it to a milestone, or just put like add a date to the correct doc?
I'm not necessarily saying we attach it to a milestone. I'm saying that oh, crepes, lemon crepes, Nutella crepes. Thanks, Justin. No, what I'm saying is that, you know, it is very easy to, you know, write code or review code in preference for reviewing design docs, because we're software, you know, we like writing software, not, you know, playing it some sort of other other major. So we may need a forcing function to make sure that we're actually reviewing and finalizing on sort of the bigger, meatier things that we're going to move forward on. And I'm not sure it'll happen without a forcing function.
Okay, we'll figure that out. I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure I do either. But if we're not doing it in milestones and we don't have dates, then it becomes very easy to just sort of for it to not happen. And maybe we don't need to solve it now, but I think we need to think about how we get it to be solved, because otherwise we're just going to get a very large backlog that we never want to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hear what you're saying, Walter, and that makes sense. Like it's helpful to have a forcing function as a reviewer too, of like, hey, like, you know, you need to look at this thing, whether that's somebody bugging you or you know, it being in some list somewhere. Uh I don't know. I personally at least don't mind having them in a milestone, in the sense at least they're on the, you know what I mean? Like at least they're on the list to be reviewed, and you sort of try. And I mean, if you kick them out of that milestone to the next milestone, it doesn't necessarily you know, to your point, like I don't know that we need to be really stringent about, hey, like it needs to be uh done by this date or else, you know, it's never going to happen. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe that helps prioritize things. I mean, a date in the doc is also useful, but I think the problem I see with a date in the doc is just like, doesn't that require people looking at it to like, then it's on somebody to go like harass people. I mean, that's a mean sounding word, but it's on the author of the crep to like get people to look by that date, and there's no sort of external tracking mechanism except that person going and asking people, because it's not in, you know, there's nowhere to go look other than like to look through the list and look at the dates in each of them. I mean, unless you're saying we would just define a date per each milestone or something like that, which I guess is yeah, I guess is possible.
Yeah, I mean, we could even just put them on the agenda. We could have a milestone. I mean, there are ways of doing it. I just, the thing I don't want to do is not have a mechanism, right? I don't necessarily mind which mechanism we pick. We can even try and see what works for us. But I think we need to have something.
Yeah, either in a milestone and then asynchronously asking people to look, or I mean, I do like the idea of putting them on like the agenda for this meeting, for example, and saying, hey, like we should dedicate the last 15 minutes or something to uh big picture questions and comments about open creps. And that sort of then is a forcing function that like, oh, we're going to talk about this thing in the meeting, like I better go read it. So that's a good idea. I like that.
I want to agree with that. Violently agree in that, you know, like keps in Kubernetes have a sort of go away connotation. And I think we are trying to avoid that with crepes. They are more welcoming. They are delicious. They are tasty. We all want to talk about them all the time and enjoy them. And so that is a great, that is why we name them crepes and not go away keps.
Hey, Jacob.
Hello. Sorry again.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Matt, for writing that down. So yeah, in a nutshell, we pin Krebs to milestones and then we dedicate some time to them. Yes. 10, 15 minutes. Okay, cool. I'm fully agree with that. Violently agree with that. Like Justin said.
Is it KREP? Is that the right? I think that's right, right?
Yes, without an E at the end. It's just like it's like a cap with an R.
Yep.
Yeah, Cap, but in cool.
Is there an accent
Okay.
missing so we can make it the right E?
Oh, yes. We need that. All right, I think we still have 7 minutes left in here. Does anyone have any other topic or open discussion topics?
Did you talk about the owners ref thingy majingy on the CRD relationship to the RGD?
No, and that's a good topic to bring. Let me send the link in the chat. Very short PR. 749. In a nutshell, someone opened a GitHub issue saying that we need an owner reference to the CRD that is managed by Crow. And Jacob was kind enough to open a PR doing that.
Point of order. An owner reference will cause the CRD to be deleted, which will cause all the CRs to be deleted, which is not what anyone wants. I think that will. I would love to hear this issue, but I'm pretty
So,
sure we never want to do this.
Just to give context to people, like currently Crow has a flag that is defaulted to false, and it's called allow CRD deletion. And basically, by default, Crow does not delete the CRDs that it's managing. So when you delete an RGD, it just like leaves the CRD dangling in there. That's the default behavior. If we switch to owner reference, it means that basically what Justin said, like it will destroy your instances and your CRDs. And there is no way to coming back from that. With that said, I think I'm open to hearing reasons why. I mean, why would people want to have ownership reference and trigger CRD deletion?
Okay. So I want to be the counter argument then in this case. If you delete a CRD, all of your CRs are gone. Oh my god, what a disaster. If your RGD is gone, which owns the CRD, of course the same applies. I argument that the CRD and the RGD have the same ownership principles, and so they can be treated the same, meaning that if you have a CRD in place that is owned by an RGD, it maintains the same life cycle as the RGD, and the RGD should have the same safety guarantees and the same concerns on deletion and applying as a CRD. That's the main argument, right? And if we don't do that, then we come back to the labels. I love how
everyone's reacting. I just want to say,
there. Everyone's loving a contribution.
I do want to have this discussion. I was a little strong by saying we never want to do this, but I do think that we have often hit the case where people are scared of deleting their CRDs quite rightly. So it is high consequence, but I will let others chime in.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, is it actually true that deleting the RGD and deleting the CRD today have the same consequence? Because technically speaking, can't I recreate my RGD and adopt my existing CRD? Like, that's a thing you can do, right? So if I I don't actually like today, I don't actually impact the real instances being run if I delete the RGD. Now, I mean, I think you're right to ask the question, was that their intent? You know, like what when somebody deletes an RGD, what are they trying to ask us to do? I think is an interesting discussion. But I mean, it is not the case today that deleting one deletes the other. Whether people are reliant on that or not, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm also sort of in the deleting the CRD is scary.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually I think that deleting the CRD is scary only because deleting the CRs are scary. And I think we need to be very clear. Like, I actually think having a flag that controlled this is a fine thing, but I'm going to reference one of my or a couple of my customers. Most of my customers would say, under no condition would I ever want you to do this. But I have at least 2 customers who actually actively say, yeah, when I'm cleaning up, I want you to remove all Google resources that were being controlled. And I believe it's going to be the same with ACK and ASO, where it's like, yeah, when I'm cleaning up, I want a way to say on the way out, clean up every single Amazon resource, every storage bucket, every database, delete them all, right? That is actively what I want. But I think we have to acknowledge that that is literally what we are talking about, right? And so I think we've got to have something that says, here's this flag, and it's clear up the world on the way out. Right. And as long as we label it that way and allow it to go in either direction, I think I'm good with it. But I think it needs to be properly, the flag name has to be properly severe, and it has to be optional.
I think the reason why we have a lot of trouble with this in general is because the owner of the CRD in most clusters is not the same as the owner of the CRs, right? So it's the case like with KCC, and I assume with ACK and ASO, you know, a platform team installs KCC, but then application teams install their resources and manage those. Same thing, I think with CRO will be, you know, often a platform team will create the CRO installation and the RGDs, and then application teams, or whatever we're going to call them, are going to create the instances of those CRDs. And so when the platform team is deleting CRO or KCC, they're kind of deleting someone else's data is the thing. And often it will be, you know, an accident that they are deleting KCC, because why would anyone ever delete our things, right? But, you know, when it is an accident, it's bad because it's deleting someone else's data, is sort of the challenge. And we do a lot of workarounds for this in KCC because it is usually an error. Like, we have something called Deletion Defender, which looks at whether the CRD is being deleted and will actually like not delete the underlying resources. And like all these hoops we jump through, we have finalizers everywhere, all these hoops just to try to avoid the foot gun of accidentally deleting the CRD, because it more often than not happens by mistake and the consequences are so high.
So, all right, my point being, we have an API convention. This API convention states there should have been an owner reference. And if we want to have resources orphaned and not reconciled, we should delete them with deletion propagation policy orphan. That's what it's there for. And I understand the reasoning to want to protect users, but in my opinion, this should happen then even before the request is accepted to delete. So this should be a policy thing on the Kubernetes runtime that you're running on, and that's what other tools are there for. I think we already mentioned it. And I think there is a warranted case to be made around protecting users from deleting CRDs that they shouldn't, right? But on the other hand, I think it's also equally important that a controller and the objects the controller manages are relationally sound. So even if we don't go ahead with this label, I will have to introduce a finalizer because the deletion behavior is not sound right now. So even if we have that flag right now and the flag is set to true, the RGD currently does not block for deletion if the CRD is still in unregistering state. So I will have to do a change either way, and it will involve either a finalizer addition or an owner reference or both. And I think it's, for me, an owner reference purely because it's the official API specification for Kubernetes, even though I agree that it is moot in a lot of ways, right? I don't think I'm the only one here that thinks that owner reference may or may not have one or the other design quirks in them that make it hard to protect against. Yeah.
Sorry, found the unmute button. I will say and KCC has been increasingly going in this direction, but I think that if there is danger, I very much like having the idea of there is something like an annotation that says what the behavior is. Maybe we even try to default the behavior in the protect the user, and that if you really want this behavior, the UIs I like are the ones that say, please delete this. Are you sure? Yes. The problem with Kubernetes is it's very hard to have that actual experience. The closest I think we can get to it is we have a protection annotation, and if you actually want to have cascading deletion, you have to go in, turn off the protection, and then do the deletion. And that way you don't get accidental deletions doing cascading delete. And I think maybe we're out of time. I certainly would like Amin and Matt to weigh in, but I think this is probably something where a CREP where we actually all agree on a longer term behavior is probably warranted.
Yeah, so the thing I was going to say, I know we're at time, I think it'll be quick, is I kind of do hear what Jacob is saying with regard to, you could make the argument, right, that what we ought to be doing is setting owner reference and then blocking deletion of the RGD, right? Like if we want to protect people at the thing they're interacting with, as opposed to letting them delete the thing, not telling them anything, and then orphaning this. Like now it's not clear what exactly has happened because they didn't get pushback, or they didn't, it looks like my thing is gone, but actually the things that it manages aren't gone. So I do kind of hear that, like maybe we could achieve what we're talking about, which is protecting the user by default, but do it in a way that is still, like to Jacob's point, referentially sound, because we don't let them delete, like we don't even let them delete the RGD unless they like mess with that annotation or remove the finalizer or whatever it is that we do by default to protect them. And then the expectation is, hey, if you opt in to deleting the RGD by jumping through whatever hoop we make you jump through, the implication is that that's going to delete the CR. That's the whole reason why we made it hard to do in the first place.
I really like that thought process. I think, again, I'm coming back to CREP. I think we just need to all agree and make it in writing. I will say, though, if we go in that, I think it's important that we put the protection in and then put in the cascading delete, not in the other, not doing it in the other order.
Hui, folks. I have some thoughts, but I'm going to drop them on the CREP or the PR. I think I fully agree. I think we need the CREP to decide the behavior in here. Anyways, we are 5 minutes over time. Thank you to everyone who participated today, and I wish you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Cheerio.
Bye.